fence, and especially if they do clearly have a lot of money and they're saying no, or they're showing hesitance, it's probably that we haven't yet done a good enough job of conveying that transformation that they're very likely to get, that we know that is important to them. So some statements you might use in those scenarios, let me get to my notes here. So one that I like to use is, if I could snap my fingers and get you back to running half marathons without pain, without limitations, what would that mean to you? How would that improve your day-to-day? And just pause and let them think about it. Let them answer, right? I mean, you can say, what would that be worth to you? You don't have to say that, but just more of like, what would that mean to you? How would that improve your life? And then you might even say, and if I could do that with far fewer clinic visits, fewer times of you being pulled away from your work and family compared to your other options in the area, and get you there more completely and faster, like, what would that be worth to you when you look at the time and the cost here? Like, sometimes you obviously want to be tactful and you don't want to be abrasive with it, but sometimes we do have to get the courage up to ask them questions like that. If they're really like, I want to work with you, but the cost, and it's like, well, let's look at all that, not just the financial cost, but look at time cost. And let's look at the results that you're likely to get with me compared to going into a clinic where they're going to want you to come in 2 or 3 times a week. They're going to probably pass you off to a tech or an assistant. They're going to have you doing a bunch of exercises that you could probably be doing on your own time at home or at a gym. Compare that to come in here with me. I teach you the things to do on your own, but we spend an hour one-on-one, and it's almost every bit of it is manual therapy and things that you can't reproduce on your own time. And for that reason, we get so much done. I usually only see my patients 1 time a week. Now, you clinicians watching this, that statement, that might be very different than the way you practice. I don't know, but that's how I practice and how my staff practices. So I've gotten really good at that statement, and it's very convincing. So you want to come up with that kind of concise, like, let's look at your options here. Working with me would look like, working with someone else would look like this. Usually in the insurance-based world, it's just the unfortunate scenario. And sometimes those clinicians are great, but I don't care how great you are. When you got to see 4 patients in an hour and I get to see 1, guess who's winning? I guess who's going to get better results with fewer visits? It's math, right? So if you can tactfully convey something like that to get them to focus on the result that's likely, the time difference it's going to take, and the level of care they're going to get along the way, a lot of times that will be enough to get them over that hump, right? Is it going to be worth it hump? And if they're looking at surgery, it's like, if working with me or my team could help you avoid this surgery, what would that be worth to you? Wouldn't it be worth giving it a shot? So then if we kind of take it to the next steps of price objections, if they're still really kind of dug in, every practice like ours should have a way of or every practice owner or staff that's having this conversation should have some form of the feel, felt, found argument or statement, and I'll explain what that is, kind of canned and practiced. And this is what it essentially means, is you're using the words feel, felt, and found. So an example would be like, Mr. Jones, I fully understand the way you feel. Seeing us and our prices it is going to be higher. You've checked with your insurance than going to an in-network clinic. And I'll tell you, many of our clients, our established and past clients, they felt the same way. But because they wanted a certain result and the things that I mentioned, how we're different, they gave it a shot. And when they experienced the level of care, and especially when they got back to the things that they needed and wanted and loved to do so much more completely than anything else they'd ever tried, they found it was worth every penny and more to have their life back in that way, to be able to run 5 miles 3 times a week, to get their heart rate, whatever the case it was for that person. But many of them came in with these same concerns, but they found that it was worth every penny. So that's a feel, felt, found example. And then I would say also, you got to have a money back guarantee. That's important. Anyone who's watching this, if you didn't see it on the sales page, we have a money back guarantee. If you don't think that what you spent was worth every penny for this, please ask for the money back, right? And some of you might have seen that and thought, well, if it's a dud and I get in here and I don't feel like it's worth it, at least I can get my money back. And that's why this goes across industries and why people use it. And you got to be confident enough, obviously, in what you provide, that not many people are going to ask for it back. Because I guarantee you that by having a money back guarantee for those people who are on the fence, you will gain far more yeses or far more money because of that than the 1 or 2 times in your whole business career that someone actually asked for it back. The money back guarantee really is important for price objections, and just saying, look, let's do this. Give me 3 visits, or depending on what you're seeing in the person clinically and the way you work, however many visits you feel like you would need to get like a solid, make a solid difference. So that's 1 visit, 3 visits, whatever. Say, give me 3 visits. If you're not having significant improvement at that point and feeling like this is really going to be the thing to get you back to XYZ goal, right? If at that point you don't think we're heading in the right direction and going to get you where you want to be, then you can just have your money back. No problem.